We go green at Spa. The pole sitter leads down into the first corner. The red Ferrari of Niklas Nielsen. And there is no contact in La Source, but one of the Toyotas being jumped by the first of the Aston Martins. A bunch of four cars side by side. That's the 20 BMW and both Penske Porsche Motorsport cars. It is Ferrari 1, 2, 3 as they hop the curbs at Rédillon. And then the 15 BMW, look at the Cadillac, number 12.
A bit of touch there, contact between the yellow 83 Ferrari and number 51, who goes round the outside. Brilliant stuff by Antonio Giovinazzi.
It's James Collado in the 51 car, yeah, moving ahead of Phil Hansen. Hansen just being perhaps a fraction cautious, and trouble for the number 5 Penske Porsche car up at Les Combes. Clearly a little bit of contact in that four-car melee going into the braking area.
So that was an important pass there for Collado. Can he have the speed to match Niklas Nielsen, who looks like he's making a breakaway here down towards Podium?
And under pressure, Phil Hansen for Loic Duval for third place. The Peugeot pretty rampant at the start here, 94 in the mix.
Mike Conway in the number 7 Toyota. That's the view of the back of his car.
And one of the Aston Martins did actually overtake the Toyota up the Kenmore Straight, so Toyota already displaced them before or on the exit of turn 9.
Yeah, so Toyota's back up to where they started, 15th and 16th, and 17th and 18th in class are the Astons. In fact, they're not. They've all moved up because of that spin for Julian Andlauer in the number 5 Porsche. We'll take a look at that as the field streams down the hill.
I'll tell you that Andlauer has recovered, is now ahead of the GT field, trying to get back onto this fast-moving train. It's a long way back, though.
Alex Riberas with full tanks and that big V12 behind him, having to just breathe off the throttle as they come through the hill. There is our leader in LMGT3. It is still the red car of Arnaud Robin, the Lexus, and the Mustang second and third. Bernardo Souza ahead of the similar car of Stefano Gattuso.
That means that the Aston Martin number 10 has dropped back in this early running. Both the Mustangs moving forward as the 10 drops back into this pack.
Yeah, the number 10 Aston Martin is the one with the green nose highlights. Looking back at the 2 orange and black McLarens, they are down. United Auto Sports cars 14th and 15th. Behind them is Ben Keating in the yellow Corvette. He's looking at the inside, but looking inside him is the first of the Mercedes. Meanwhile, 99. This is the battle with the 2 Toyotas trying to go around Proton Competitions. Nico Pino.
Yeah, Mike Conway finds his way through in car number 7 round the outside, similar to the move of Collado on Hansen the lap before. So, yeah, overtaking is possible. It's on for the Toyotas, isn't it, versus the Porsche platform at least.
Let's take a look at the start in LMGT3. Watch the green and yellow Aston Martin. Did not make an alacrity getaway. That was really slow, picking up the throttle there from Derek de Boer, and got out-dragged by the second of the Mustangs right down into turn 1.
I think I've just spotted why it is the 85's team manager is being called for race control. That car did not look like it made the start across the grid hatchings. Was right over to the pit wall in the hands of Senior Martin, and I think there might be a problem coming to the 85.
Battle between the 2 Mustangs, or the Mustang and the Lexus in front. The other Mustang just out beside us, looking back from the Lexus, our pole-sitting car. So the Aston Martin number 10 on the outside. Derek de Boer hadn't just breathed off the throttle, Anthony, to avoid running wide into the gravel.
Yeah, but definitely caught napping, wasn't he, on the start there? Was that contact as well just before? Oh, the Mustang very close. But yeah, definitely caught napping at the start there. Just didn't get on power simply early enough, so was out-dragged by the pole sitter on the inside. And yeah, that's a lesson maybe for the future.
On board with Paul D'Orestre in 8th place in the 93 Peugeot TotalEnergies machine. Ooh, trying to decide which side of the Mustang he was going to go.
Look at the Alpine on the inside of the Peugeot, the second element of the bus stop, and that position is gone.
And that is 4th place. So Loic Duval being jumped by Fred Makovici. Mako up to 4th place. The Ferrari still 1, 2, 3. There's the Peugeot, the BMW 15, K-Mag right behind him.
And we know with the speed that the BMW's got in the straight line, the Peugeot could be under pressure here. Who knows? He's going to have to desperately stay in the slipstream of the position he's already lost against the Alpine. A great opportunistic move there by Fred Makowiecki in the traffic.
And Mako going to try and go through on the first form Porsche. He does, but further back, contact between the Porsche. Here comes Lawrence Vanthoor, the red and white Porsche. He's trying to get around the other Peugeot. That's Paul de Resta.
But watch the other Alpine that was right there as well with them in the mix of that. Definitely side-by-side contact between the Peugeot and the Porsche coming into the braking zone.
Yeah, it's desperate. It's always frantic. It's desperate stuff. When you first arrive on a tightly packed LMGT3 field and it's the first time you arrive on the scene, it's tough for everybody, and especially when you've got such a strong competitive field in Hypercar. You just talk, well, and there's a moment for Phil Hansen there, and the Alpine gets by as well in that moment.
Yes, Fred Makowiecki on the inside. Now it's the outside at Piff Paff, but the next corner is a right. He's not alongside, but Hansen under real pressure from Makowiecki. For third place, going by another of the Ferraris. That's the third place LMGT3 car, fourth place LMGT3 car.
Peugeot almost got there, but then the traffic intervened again. Great stuff coming through traffic. Like you said, Ant, it gives and it takes away in just a moment, but right behind the Peugeot, that BMW tucked right underneath where there is now a rear wing on the Peugeot.
And Hansen's got a good roll, did have a good run on his teammate of James Collado. And look at the Alpine coming through on the inside as well. Makowiecki very late on the brakes in the Alpine. That blue Alpine just looks like it kisses the rear.
Magnussen inside the white Peugeot and the Cadillac as well. Both Peugeots in danger of losing out a spot. It's Will Stevens in the gold Cadillac. The BMW didn't get through, unlike Duval. Will Stevens still outside Paul de Resta, and side by side for third place. Hansen's in the gravel. Up to third place goes Fred Makowiecki. Mako knows there's a gravel trap on the outside. If he eases Hansen out wide, he's either got to lift or go through the gravel. Mako up to third.
He's going to be investigated for that one, though, for pushing a rival into the gravel trap. So he could have left him more room. I feel like he chose not to. It'd be interesting to have another look at that, as we've got some big action here.
Two Peugeots, a Cadillac, a Porsche, another Alpine, and the second BMW. Pick the bones out of that. That is the battle for fifth, and there are only 6 cars in it.
Well, the important one there is the BMW is ahead of the Peugeots. Peugeots have now, I think, exchanged places.
They have.
But it is war in this little group.
De Resta's done very well out of that battle, and they probably caught some traffic through Eau Rouge. De Resta didn't, and had a mighty run on everyone else. So the Alpine's definitely got the speed here. Look, under threat already is the Ferrari before they even get to Eau Rouge. And he's through. Amazing stuff. But that was a drag on the exit of the source. But can Collado fight back?
You can hear the crowd cheering that move over the sound of the engines from that huge grandstand. Collado has got clear air now, but the speed of the Alpine, Fred Makowiecki used his advantage to his advantage. That's a phenomenal pass. Nevertheless, Anthony, still heart in mouth, wheel to wheel into Eau Rouge in any cars.
Absolutely. Look at that, how close it was against the wall, and the Ferrari before committing to turn 4. Great stuff.
Crowd love that one. 4.7 seconds then is the gap. Nick Nielsen now to Fred Makowiecki, Ferrari 2, Alpine.
It was the traction he had on the exit of La Source that gave him this run fully into the slipstream, and then Collado's nothing that he could do for the Alpine to come through on the outside. A big old lift and bravery. You can see even the Hertz Team Jota crew in Cadillac thought that was on the limit.
Okay, hands up everybody, all you BOP botherers, who had Alpine to win this race? What are we seeing here? This is the 20 BMW and the number 12 Cadillac of Will Stevens trying to go around the outside of René Rast.
Rast looked like Rast was defending a little bit on the inside, and you've got to give a car's width to the outside, and that looked a little bit tight for Will Stevens. So I'm sure he'll be complaining on the radio, hey, look, I almost had to take to the grass there and outbrake myself because of it. I didn't quite have the room that I thought I should be allowed.
Aboard with United Autosports McLaren of Darren Young. Briefly then, looking at the team's other car. the rear view camera. Great view of that.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Darren Lewin was actually chasing the number 31 BMW that he raced last year.
And won at Imola.
Yeah, indeed. So, Kevin Magnussen now, real run up behind him from the Peugeot, Paul Di Resta.
It was a mistake there from K-Mag, and Di Resta, I think, has got the job done this time around. Less of a slipstream as well for the advantage of the car number 15. So Di Resta through, and Duval just about hangs on to that position as well. Hangs on to the position from the car 35 of Ferdinand Habsburg.
Rather wider Peugeot than it's homologation, I think, in that move there. There was real no-tell stuff.
But it looked to me like Kevin Magnussen, I'm not sure what happened through Radion, the top of the hill, where just looked like he lost a lot of momentum. I think, did he have a bit of a sideways snap, or maybe these soft tyres are starting to give up on him? Maybe, yeah, so just watch the car in front of us. Yeah, too wide, over the curb, lack of momentum. Di Resta sees what's happened and chooses to the inside. Yeah, great stuff by Paul there.
Into the bargain, the fastest first sector of the race so far for Paul Di Resta on that run. So he just got it perfectly.
On board again with the number 15 BMW. Look at the speed as he has to take to the grass. That was Martin Berry going by Ben Keating in the yellow Corvette. Berry suddenly sees the danger but nearly shuts the door on the Peugeot, and that's where the big accident happened last year.
It is exactly what I was talking about. You know, the bronze drivers are at absolute max capacity. It's hard enough for them anyway to drive a lap with the car on the edge, let alone with these hypercars buzzing all around them.
It's in a battle for position with Ben Keating. You know, it's kind of, you've got to have several sets of eyes, I'm afraid. GT3, well done everybody, got through that one. Heart the mouth all the way around.
Di Resta has displaced Hansen, and under the attack from the BMW as well, from Kevin Magnussen. Car 15 makes it through under the braking. So what happened there through Eau Rouge? And Radion Hansen thinks about coming back around the outside, has to back out of it, and the Alpine's through as well.
Yeah, Ferdy Habsburg getting by the yellow Ferrari. He's going to have a look at Kevin Magnussen in the blue, black and white BMW as well. Can't get through, but here comes the Peugeot of Loic Duval, trying to shove his nose up the inside of Phil Hansen's yellow Ferrari.
Yeah, Hansen left a tantalising gap there, didn't he, on the inside of turn 8. What happened? So the rundown, I saw that Di Resta got a great run out of La Source and just sent it on the inside. Brilliant move there. Right, I mean, he ultimately went off the track, all four wheels over the white line on the exit, but that was brave stuff.
And Hansen in the yellow Ferrari had to have a big lift to survive Eau Rouge.
He needed the awareness there of Hansen, so that was really well played there by him as well.
I think we have a problem for the number 99 Proton car. I think we have yellows, turn 5, turn 6. I'm pretty certain it's 99 in trouble, and it is.
Ryan Hardwick in the pits as well in the Manthey First Form Porsche, so that's an unexpected pit call.
That was not the Shadow of the Grim Reaper, by the way, that was the Goodyear blimp.
Nico Pino.
A loss of hydraulic pressure, gearbox problems we're hearing. Oh yeah, definitely.
Whoa, that selected
box and neutrals.
That selected neutral in a hurry, didn't it? So first car down, and an unexpected, maybe a lap early for Manthey First Form. Maybe they're staggering the pit stop between that car and the Iron Dames, which they're also running.
There's a hand up there to say what's going on,
or
as we see the Porsche Proton getting going again.
Or is he cooling his hand in the air tube?
I think it might be. The other quick thing to notice, by the way, Celia Martin did pit there. 36 seconds on pit lane. Should have served that extra 5 seconds. If she's managed to do it here, that's a big win for them.
Yeah. Now we're expecting them to do 25 laps on fuel. Looks like they've stopped a lap early, and here comes René Rast on Phil Hansen down into Eau Rouge. And coming up behind him as well quickly is Will Stevens with the gold nose on the Cadillac.
He's got momentum up through. Radion gets alongside the Ferrari, making this look as if it could be easy into the braking zone at Licon.
the lap times and where you get the time from in the car, it seems to be more evenly spread, closely matched compared to Hypercar.
Change for second, 92 Porsche moves up to second place, and Celia Martin as well goes around the outside of a Mustang at the bus stop, and she just got through without getting muscled out of the way, so the Iron Dame's up to seventh. Yeah, Ferrari driver had his wits about him. I think that was Thomas Floor, wasn't it? It was in a 54 LMGT3 Ferrari, and this is where the pass happened for second. Ryan Hardwick dive-bombing Stefano Gattuso. That was clear.
And Ryan Hardwick executing the overtake on the car he drove last season.
Our race leader is the slowest hypercar on track. 2:11 last lap, compared to 2:09 for Collado and Mako. Whoa, goodness gracious.
I wondered how they came out of that situation so close together. When we picked them up after this replay we've just seen, I saw Collado was right behind the Alpine. I thought, oh, he's had a good run there. That's how it happened. Oh, but Collado's going to get stung here behind the Lexus. Look at that. The momentum you lose. Yeah. He's been given the room on the outside, but look at that, what you lose. Now all the way up the hill on the Kemmel Straight. Continues to climb, by the way, that hill towards Le Combe. And now we look back towards the turn one with car 8 and car number 5, the red and white Porsche. The problem is contact there between the BMW and the Ferrari. Just about gets back on track to the BMW. There's another hypercar coming through as well, for good measure. That's the onboard. Wow, and it was a hit, wasn't it? You really heard that one, and that was almost a hit as well. That's how close it is, and actually...
He's got damage.
Yeah,
he's got damage.
Right front. Looks like, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's tipped a whole lot of gravel all over the place, and we are in. I think we're looking here for an intervention.
I think we're looking here at a guaranteed safety car. You're going to have to send a vehicle in to snatch the car out. That's 31, Yasser Shaheen. Yeah, broken right front steering or suspension.
Virtual safety car is coming.
Yeah, that definitely happened in turn 19, didn't we? We heard the thud, and I'm not surprised that's taken damage there.
That's a real shame for them.
The pit lane will be open in this period, and there's trouble for one of the Lexus. Now, that wasn't the other car involved with the BMW, was it? That's the 87
That's
car.
That's 87, yeah.
Well, he certainly pulled over on the straight and stopped. Not the sort of position that we saw the 31 BMW in last year after that contact with Earl Bamber. Green flag waits at the start line. You cannot pass before you cross the start-finish line. Away we go. Miguel Molina will now have to try and build up that margin again, and Fred Makovici with fresher tyres, Anthony. We saw how aggressive he was right from the start of the race.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll play it slightly differently this time around, though, knowing that they might have used him a bit too hard in the first stint, because we saw James Collado, for example, in the second stint, come back at him at a great rate of knots. Paul di Resta in the white Peugeot there, just flashes past in front of us. Car number 93. He's the one that's going to be feeling the pressure most of all, I should imagine, particularly at the start. Side-by-side action between Corvette and the McLaren through Eau Rouge.
Remember, we heard the Corvette being told that the McLaren in front of him had older tyres, and behind comes James Cottingham in the other McLaren, going around Thomas Floor's Ferrari. So 2 papaya cars. And it was, in fact, Ben Keating, the first of the Corvettes, who moved up the order. And that car qualified 17th out of the 18 cars. Ben Keating now moving up into the top 10. He is in 8th.
Yeah, Darren Young's in the second McLaren. His progress was thwarted there. It's very close side-by-side action there between the BMW and the Mustang.
Yeah, that's the 46 BMW up to 3rd place. Amadou Harty on the charge. Francois Heriot's Ferrari in front of him.
That's on the restart. The Ferrari has taken the lead on the restart from the 88 Mustang, which led to going back to green. Team WRT all over the back of the 88 in a battle for what is now 2nd place. Arnaud Raban just dropping in the recovering Lexus.
And that's driver time done there, isn't it? With 1 hour 48 minutes gone.
Wow, that's really sharp. And look at this, 2 papaya, 2 yellow and black cars, and an Aston Martin and a Mercedes getting involved as well. Who's coming out on top of this? This is Ben Keating threading the eye of the needle. No, it's not. It's Tom Van Rompuy. Ben Keating's been shuffled to the back. Van Rompuy makes it up about 4 spots. So the 81 car now up to 8th place. Both McLarens in 9th, or they were, because the number 10 Aston Martin has jumped in between them. And we're on board with Darren Leung. Don't forget, older tyres, stint and a half old.
It's like a Christmas selection box of LMGT3, this lot. Look at it, it's just to throw a blanket over 5 cars.
So 15, Raffaele Marcello has served his second drive-through of his stint, neither that he earned. As we ride on board with James Collado, Antonio Giovinazzi rather right up behind Fred Makovic, just trying to get alongside Mako, giving him a little less room than Phil Hansen, and here comes the Peugeot. Paul Di Resta, boom, up to 3rd. Now that is a good moment in the Peugeot garage to see them passing a Ferrari on pace. This, they've already said, the boys were saying this morning, the car feels so much better here than it did in Imola because the track suits it more.
Yeah, that was really, that was some plucky driving there from Di Resta, wasn't he? He did it at the start of the race. He's done it now in the same part of the circuit, so in front of one of the Ferraris. A great move, yeah, opportunistic, of course, in the traffic, but the problem for the Ferrari following is that they're on better tyres, so Di Resta could potentially, as his tyres start to age on the right-hand side, particularly, start to become a bit of a problem for that. That might have been an important move there for Di Resta, claiming track position.
So vulnerable into turn 5, that's Lecombe. So, yeah, trying to give James Collado a little something. Mike Conway for position with the 94 car. Loic Duval goes the long way round the outside. Oh, look, he's creeping by the Toyota. Goes through. Well, that's a good one.
But Mike Conway was behind him anyway, so somehow Conway was the one finding himself on the attack there before Lasort. So, and here's the Ferrari under attack from the BMW.
Yeah, but Ferrari also trying to attack the Peugeot, but...
Done it, round the outside, fantastic. What a great move.
Robin Frines.
He hangs on to that one. The thing is, if you overtake on the outside, then defends immediately down into turn 8. He's got that one covered, should have anyway. Ferrari tries to come back round the outside, but is politely squeezed out of room.
So understeery there, so steep downhill, and you're just scraping the tyre as you turn it.
Great bit of racing that from 2 hardened pros, because what happened in turn 5, if you go around the outside there at the top of Lecombe, it means that you're really compromised in turn 6. That's exactly what happened to the BMW.
2 hours, 10 minutes into the 6 hours of Spa-Francorchamps. The lead battle in LMGT3 is that far apart, or prefer that close. It is Ian James, 27, Harter Racing. Celia Martin coming down the hill from La Source. She is within touching distance. Probably half what she can hear is Aston Martin exhaust noise rather than the noise of her own Porsche engine. She gets a good run through and climbing the Kemmel Straight. She's in the slipstream. She's not been better placed so far. Is she going to be able to look for the lead, Anthony?
Yeah, definitely having a look to the inside, come the end of this straight, got to be late on the brakes. Remember, ABS in these cars allow you to brake so deep into the corner, hence no lockups at all. The Aston just about hangs onto it there, but she's got the inside for turn 7 and makes it through. It's not over yet, though, because turn 8 opens up here down the hill, but she's got it covered. A great move. Utilised the speed through her ruse that you rightly picked up there, Martin, and got into the slipstream. You could see the rear wing shaking around in the turbulence. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, we've seen them beginning to cycle through, and here comes side by side. Oh. 94
yeah,
on
Duval,
the 51.
Duval putting a lot of pressure there on Giovinazzi. And there's a GT car in between them as they head through a Rouge. That's heavily compromised Robin Frines there. Look at that. And now the Ferrari, all of them, is going to be right under attack here. The Ferrari goes to the outside. And, oh, the Peugeot's got the momentum, goes through the middle. This is amazing.
This is phenomenal stuff from Loic Duval. I thought he was going to follow the Ferrari because the double toe would help him, but he had more speed even than Giovinazzi. So Duval goes up 2, Frines goes back 2. Giovinazzi stuck exactly where he was. He's still in 5th.
Hats off to all 3 of them there. They needed the respect, the awareness, and the safety of all the drivers that were fighting. So, I mean, amazing stuff. Robin Frines was the unfortunate victim.
Real shame for the 59 McLaren. That was a long, long stop as Sebastian Beau got in. 2 minutes 16. They lost nearly a minute getting that driver's door closed.
Di Resta's compromised here. Di Resta's compromised on the gravel as well. It allows Giovinazzi to go around the outside, and he gets the job done, but he takes a risk there to go around the outside of the GT car. That was 100% risk, but who's driving? Is that Castellacci?
Yeah, Francesco Castellacci.
What awareness he had. What awareness.
Car 51 team manager to race director immediately. What is going to come the way of Antonio Giovinazzi's Ferrari? Energy still going in. Away they go.
Here comes Alpine. Alpine passes the line as the Ferrari starts moving. This is going to be super close.
And the Alpine is on hot tyres. He's up to speed. There he is.
Got the run.
He's got to dive bomb the Ferrari now or never.
He's going to do it. He's got momentum. Round the outside he goes.
Takes the lead of the race.
Beautifully done.
That's all BOP, that is.
Oh, stop.
Exactly. Exactly. Fantastic stuff.
We're going to keep an eye on this one. Gentlemen, at this point, we are, what, 2.5 hours into this 6-hour race. This is an absolute WC classic developing here. No clue what's going to happen in the second half of this race at this stage. But as I've said before, a couple of teams that came in here very hot indeed are having to fight for their lives right now. Here comes the overtaking move, Ant Davidson.
Yeah, so the Alpine had a great run through that the first corner, gets in the slipstream, and Molina not really knowing where to place the car. He knew that the Alpine had the advantage in terms of momentum. Nothing he could do about it. Yeah, very late on the brakes there was the Toyota, and gets a good run on the exit of the first corner there. So I think this is going to be back into the slipstream of the Porsche, up through Rougenet. You look for a good run through this one as well, and this will hopefully give Kobayashi the run that he needs to get the job done properly, because he has indeed let that Porsche past, which it was gone unseen by us, but and a little bit of side drafting and a bit of bumping as well. This time, do you stay on circuit? Just about.
Just about. Now look at the Cadillac. Hang on, they've both gone by Verlaine. Both the Toyota and the Cadillac have gone by Pascal Verlaine. So Verlaine must have had an awful run through Eau Rouge, and they've just steamrolled right on by him.
So for those of you watching that were confused, because I was confused at the time as well, when we played out the Hirakawa message saying, be careful of Verlaine, you've never raced him before, we were actually riding on board with Kobayashi that had given the place back to the Porsche. Yeah. And then that's why we saw the run up through Rouge. So it was a bit of confusion, so just to clear that one up.
One of our new young drivers, El Bamba, again closing right up on the back of the Porsche. That is Nico Muller. Behind him you can see the second caddy and the Toyota of Rio Hirakawa, who's behind Norman Nato in Cadillac number 12.
Bamba, always exciting to watch, but I kind of get the feeling that today potentially needs to have a slightly calmer approach, because he's got the car under him and he's got the speed to deliver a good performance here today. And remember how it ended last year as well for him around this part of the track that they go right now in traffic. So he's got the run on the Porsche that he needs. Car number 6 that he's fighting, Pascal Verlaine, in the slipstream, looks to the outside, late on the brakes. How's it going to be on the outside here? Are you going to stay on the track? No, you yield out of that one. Okay, that was, he needed to do that. Didn't quite have enough of his car alongside before turning in.
It's only a matter of time, isn't it? The Porsche looks really susceptible here. Nico Muller doing the best job he can, but Bamba is climbing all over him.
Yeah, here we go. So Bamba's finally got the run that he needed on the exit of that final corner, and it's going to be side by side as they head towards the first corner, but there's a GT car in the way. Bamba can't brake where he wants to, but he still goes around the outside
and says, I'm staying on the track. And actually, fair enough, Nico Muller went, yeah, you've tucked me up like a kipper, and I know I'm going to get a penalty if I bounce you into the gravel. Job done. Earl Bamba picks up another spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a fabulous asset that we have, and being able to show the 90-odd thousand fans that Martin was just talking about, the iconic Goodyear blimp on its 100th anniversary is a big part.
Oh, trouble. Apologies, trouble. It's one of the United Autosports McLarens in the wall.
That's on the exit of turn 6, isn't it? Lecombe
Yeah, trying to see if that's 59 or 95.
Sean Gelael.
Sean Gelael, who was in the 31 BMW when it had the massive crash with Earl Bamber last year. I wonder if there was contact.
He's got him backwards there. You can see the track from the car.
I think he might have had a puncture.
No, just turned around, just on the exit of turn 6. So
But definitely took the tyre off the rim, that contact.
let's have a look on board then. Covers the inside down towards 5. Gets back onto the racing line. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. And then the car on the inside stays on the inside, and bang, that's all of the damage.
And that is a big hit, fortunately on the passenger side of the McLaren. Which of the two AMGs was it?
I think it might have been Matteo Caroli in the number 60 car. I'm just trying to find look at what position was on the side of the car. It was a position in double figures, and Matteo is currently shown in 9th, and that was previously the 9th place car. So intervention immediately. Safety car has been called while that intervention goes on. 60 car has pitted meanwhile, as do another flurry of LMGT3 cars.
I think we're right in their pit window. I think we're right on bingo fuel for these cars.
The problem there, I think, for the Mercedes, for the Iron Lynx car, is that they were off circuit momentarily. I mean, it was the rejoin when you had the contact. So I know there was a bit of argy-bargy before turning into turn 5, but we often see that in GT racing. But I think the problem was Gelael stayed on the circuit there, and it was the Mercedes GT car that was off the track, rejoined, and then carried on that fight on the exit. So I think they could be looking at a penalty coming their way.
Now, all these 3 cars have just come into the pit lane for emergency fuel only. You're only allowed to take on something like 3 seconds of fuel, and then you have to go back out again, because as soon as the safety car is scrambled, the pit lane is closed. Well, there is the Goodyear blimp, and even more importantly, there is Sean Gelael. 2 years in a row, 2 different cars, and ending up in the barrier both times.
That's the best news. We saw that Goodyear blimp. Mike McGregor's still with us to watch one more time.
Yeah, look, it's a rejoin.
Trying to pick out if that is the 60.
I think the problem coming that driver's way is that the only reason this happened is because of the unsafe rejoin. You're off the track, and that the stewards will not look at that kindly.
I have a feeling it was the rebuilt 60 car, which is more black at the front. Okay, 3 laps behind the safety car, pit lane open, boom, 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 boom. Reset the whole field.
Gets a black and white flag for driving standards towards car 38.
It's the 7 Tota out ahead of the Ferrari.
There's quite a lot of questionable releasing going on there, I think. What's going on with the oh, the Ferrari swapping positions so they didn't have to stagger. That's 51 going ahead of 50 so that they can pit in the correct order. That's what's happening there.
Are they allowed to do that?
Well, they've done. One's going below the speed limit.
I think you can if you're in the blending lane, as it's
Yes.
called. So
Yeah.
the painted Goodyear graphic part, and that's why members of the teams are jumping out of the way. I've never seen that before. I hope Ferrari have read their rule. Oh, Nick de Vries, the car stopped in the wrong box.
That's because the lollipop man stopped him, didn't recognise which car was coming in. Because... is that the order they were on track? Yes, it is the order. 7 was ahead of 8, so they should have known.
Now we can go, and he's
Green
gone.
flag is, and he's gone. Yeah, he's checked out.
Of course, no overtaking before you get to the line, though. So that's why they're all stuck behind the GT car and trying to give themselves a run on the exit of this corner. So Verne sprints away.
There's Jules Gounon and Kamui Kobayashi. Headlights flashing on the Ferrari of Alessandro Pierguidi and the BMW of René Rast. Poor old Ben Tuck trying to stay out of the way. He's basically got the entire hypercar field coming by in one go.
I can tell you, though, that Jean-Luc Verne got that mano 3.5 seconds to good as he crossed the line. So already sprinted away, made it very difficult indeed for the chasing pack, but they're having fun amongst each other. Ferrari alongside the BMW as they come on the Kemmel straight. That position's going to go.
In fact, that's not Pierre Guidi, that is Fuoco going by René Rast. That was taking candy off a baby. Fuoco had a really good run because René Rast was right up behind the other Ferrari of Alessandro Pierre Guidi.
Yeah, Fuoco and René Rast took new tyres, well, used mediums, but all four, they probably qualified tyres went on. So 3 laps worth on their tyres. So, yeah, that explains why there's a close fight between those two. Kobayashi only took a left-hand side, brand new set of mediums on the left-hand side, and remember from the right-hand side that went on the last stint. So Kobayashi's got better tyres than car number 36 of Jules Gounon, who didn't take tyres in that last stop.
But he's already chopping away from Gounon, and the Ferraris are harassing the Toyota get through. The first of them, the 51 car, Alessandro Pierre Guidi, and Antonio Fuoco is right with him. If Kobayashi veers offline even a fraction, both Ferraris will go through the gap.
Pierre Guidi, by the way, took the same as Kobayashi, but a used set on the left-hand side. So here we go. In the run-up to Blanchimont, round the outside goes the Ferrari.
2 wheels inside the white line. That time, though, no grace at all.
Going to have to give it back. Going to have to give it back. And he does exactly the right thing. But Kobayashi has a massive lock-up and off the track himself through turn 19. An awkward rejoin. No contact, but that was a really costly mistake there, that lock-up by Kobayashi.
Yeah, Malte Jakobsen in the Peugeot now right behind the Toyota driver. He's looking to go around the outside as the Ferraris try and swap position. René Rast is right in there in the yellow, black and red BMW, and Malte Jakobsen goes by the Toyota. Corvette battle. Johnny Edgar being flashed by Rui Andrade. Rui Andrade, by the way, under investigation because when he came into the pit lane during the safety car, he left through a red light.
Allegedly, also under investigation. I think that the remaining Lexus, I think, is under investigation too for the same thing. It is. I think, yes, it's...
Oh, there's the Mercedes. In the midst of it, the Iron Lynx car, Lynn Hodanius, young man who came in with very little racing experience and all of that in sort of junior single-seaters, really starting to find his feet in that Mercedes. And here comes the United Autosports McLaren of Sebastian Boe. That car came in from the lead. James Costinger brought it up from the back row of the grid in LMGT3 to first place. They lost over a minute in the pits, fixing a door that wouldn't close on the driver's side. They're right back in the thick of the action now, though.
Also in the thick of that action and coming back. I'm not quite sure why they dropped so much time and so many positions there to the outside. The Iron Dames number 85 Porsche pushing up with Rahel Frey. But listening to what's going on with Rahel.
Okay, Rahel, you have mega pace at the moment, so try to catch the cars in front, try to overtake. You are faster than all of them.
Oh, she's getting overtaken down the inside, though, with the Aston Martin. A bit of a scruffy run there, where she had to defend, didn't she, on the way into Le Combe.
She'd just taken the position, then lost it again.
Yeah. So, yeah, that overtaking move didn't quite work out for her. But, yeah, encouraging signs that the car has got the speed, and we saw that earlier on in the race. So she's just got to settle down into a good rhythm and use the pace of the car.
Right behind her was the other Mercedes of Brenton Grove, another of our newcomers this weekend, the Aussie in the black car right at the tail of this group. And
there was a look.
Well, there was a look indeed, and that is Sebastian Boe having a look at the back of the yellow car of Rui Andrade. Looking back from Finn Gersitz. Finn is currently in 7th place in LMGT3. That's him at the front of this queue. So that's 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, all in one queue.
Massive step forward here from the Mercedes-AMG squad from Iron Lynx in the mix for the first time.
Proton competition 1-2. The Ford Mustangs leading in LMGT3. Ferrari 3-4, 21 Simon Mann ahead of 54 Francesco Castellacci. Valentino Rossi in 5th place, and Sebastian Boe down the inside of Rui Andrade in the bus stop. And that was a change for 10th place. Bode into 10th, Eduardo Barrichello into 11th, Rui Andrade down to 12th, and here comes Brenton Grove in the Mercedes, trying to go around Rahal Fry for 12th.
So it's probably difficult, but if you can, try to clear the 78.
Brenton Grove in the Mercedes, going by the Iron Dames Porsche.
A little bit of unnecessary contact, you'd have to say.
And still, what on earth is going on here? Sebastian Boe under attack from the number 10, Spirit of Le Mans, Aston Martin. Eduardo Barrichello got a run on the inside. Does he stay in front? Into Eau Rouge. Sebastian Boe is side by side. Didn't want to lift off a fraction, and he's got good momentum coming through as well, Anthony.
Yeah, this isn't over.
Brave,
absolutely not over there. So Bode had a little, a bit of contact there, and some debris falls off the car, I think from the Aston Martin perhaps. So Bode back round the outside, but he's still there, isn't he, as Barrichello, and there's even more contact. This is getting pretty hot between these three.
Yeah, it really is, and that is Rui Andrade's Corvette trying to get in there as well. RG and Bargy,
yeah,
if you
want.
Getting
messy. It's not going to end well if they don't calm down soon. I get the feeling it's getting too extreme.
In the black Mercedes, Stephen Grove has moved ahead of Rui Andrade, and so too has the pink and white Porsche of Rahal Fry. And it looks as though more contact between Sebastian Boe and Eduardo Barrichello.
Just watching the AMG there, great momentum, but the road was full in front of them. We've got one incident under investigation between the 59 and the 61, and another that is going to be a 30-second stop-and-go penalty for the number 60 Iron Lynx AMG. Now with Brenton Grove at the wheel, and that's for the incident that involved Sean Gelael.
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately then for Brenton Grove, the road was full of Bode in front of him, and still is. And this is the 61 car, just a little further up the order. Lynn Herdanius chasing Finn Gersitz.
Yeah, trying to go around the outside there. Who's in the Corvette? So that was too risky, and you've lost so much momentum because of it. You're never going to be given the room trying to go around the outside of such a high-speed corner. It's inevitable that the cars run out wide. Wow, yep. Talking championship already, are we?
All about points. Don't take any unnecessary risks. I mean, the basic rules of endurance racing: don't hit anything, stay out of the pits. Still apply.
Look at Kobayashi. Look at this. He ducks to the inside. That's going to be a risky one. Oh. And how on earth did whoever is in 21? That is Simon Matt. That was incredible, because he had overtaking on the outside. Then Kobayashi dive bombs down the inside as well. Wow.
I tell you what. It is a tough life being an LMGT3.
It most certainly is.
Really is.
But also the risk level that all of the hypercar drivers are taking in traffic. Who was it that said it earlier on? Was it Jensen, wasn't it? Mikael Jensen said, I can't believe we haven't seen a crash yet, because the risk level is huge. Watch Kobayashi. Ducks to the inside. The gap's not really there, but somehow on the dust as well, with the awareness of Simon Mann, who probably is looking in the left-hand mirror at this stage, and then look at this gap. If that was me, I would have hit someone.
And move ahead in that Privateers Cup. And the other McLaren is off. That's the 59 car. That is the car that led at the end of its bronze driver stint. Sebastian Boe in the barriers. I bet he didn't drive off of his own accord. He was in that big battle, wasn't he? Who was right behind him? That was...
with a Corvette at one point.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Martin. It's the Aston Martin once again, wasn't it? Yep, contact before the braking zone. And nothing that he could do there.
Eduardo Barrichello driving that Aston Martin. Pit stop for number 21 Ferrari.
It will be a virtual safety car coming.
I did wonder, I worried that it was going to come to that between that gaggle of cars. It was just getting a bit too hot. And yeah, I'm not surprised it ended in contact and a car out of the race, or at least for now. Oh, and he's going to get this going.
Well, he's backed out of the gravel, or has been backed out. He's backed out. He's reversed it all across the gravel.
So he's done very well there indeed.
That's brilliant stuff.
So could we not get a virtual safety car?
No, virtual safety car must go to safety car.
I think in this circumstance, let's see what happens, because I think the race director can, at their discretion, change that if they need to.
Well, we go back to green flag racing with 1 hour and 51 minutes, and who knows how much more excitement to come. Already, there you go. It's a challenge on the Peugeot, the number 20 car, Robin Freins, trying to get by Malte Jakobsen. The young Dane says not here, but Freins has got a great run, Anthony.
Yeah, good run. We've seen good straight line speed as well, haven't we, from the BMW, but the Peugeot's pretty strong in that regard as well. But still, look at that. Keep an eye further down your screen with the BMW going around the outside. Now's your time when you've got to make those soft tyres count. Contact and off the circuit. Was he pushed off? And what's the problem with the Peugeot? A puncture.
Or a broken suspension or something. Malte Jakobsen squirreling around. Left side looks okay, but it is the right rear, left rear rather, I'm sure, that has got damage. The Peugeot team leaping into action.
So look, he had the inside covered and he was entitled to be there, but just got on the curb and ran out wide.
I don't think that's a puncture.
Maybe it's the left.
I don't think it's just a puncture.
So yeah, the suspension's broken on the left rear. Yeah, the left rear waggling all around there.
Didn't look like there was contact at the rear of the car, though.
Looked more towards the front, didn't it? But, well, left rear is definitely broken, and I'm not sure that car's going to make it round under its own steam.
100%. Robin Freins rejoined. I tell you what, if the safety car comes out now, I know who's going to be on the radio ranting about coming into the pit lane, don't you? Poor old Jean-Eric Verne. And suddenly, the competitive Peugeot is in strife as well. Nick de Vries is in 4th place.
So after a brilliant start to this race, in the middle of this race, the Peugeot's now 15th and 16th. Jakobsen is still mobile, still continuing around.
83 Ferrari coming up behind the 2 Aston Martins as the 15 BMW fights off 009. No, he doesn't quite. In fact, he goes by 009. Raffaele Marcello has got by the better of the Aston Martins. And the 83 car in the hands of Robert Kubica. They just need to finish this race.
It's not been on pure performance, of course it hasn't, but it warrants saying, just because of the way this race has come together, the lead Aston Martin right now is under 10 seconds off the lead.
Yeah. And you know what? Every time they put miles on the car, they're getting better with it, and it's becoming less of a handful. Change of position between the Ferraris. Alessandro Pierguidi hangs on. No, he doesn't. It was a change. Antonio Fuoco did go by now.
And it's because, as before, the number 50 took 2 fresh tyres in that last pit stop. So there's a tyre offset between the 2 of them. And I don't know how aggressive that move had to be there, as we see the limping Peugeot back into the pits.
Yeah, Bruce Joanny right there with the Peugeot team.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can tell you they just opened a box with half set. The rear left suspension apparently is broken. It's ready to go, fresh new one. So they're going to bring the car in just now.
Yeah, Malte Jakobsen really having to fight that car back and just pray that nothing else got ripped off it on his way back to the pit lane. So Peugeot, from being in the mix, are now 15th and 16th out of 17 running hypercars.
But Fuoco, meantime, is getting away from this group. 4.5 seconds to the good.
Schumacher on the inside.
And he's going to take that position.
Lovely move there by Schumacher. He saw a gap on the exit of turn 14. And now the BMW's getting involved as well. Contact, and this is big. Oh, such high speed there to be making contact like that. But muscles his way through.
It was really notable coming down the hill towards out of Piff Puff, how much the Ferrari was sliding around. It's not got the grip at the rear that the other 2 did.
I don't think Pierguidi knew that the BMW was going to stick on the inside into that corner or something, but that was, talk about forcing your way through. That, my heart was in my mouth, let alone what it was like for the BMW.
Robin Freins' adrenaline probably made that seem very straightforward, but it's going to make a fantastic replay, that's for sure. And closing in on them, by the way, Nick de Vries in the Toyota.
Let's take another look at this. So he did know he was there because he was pushing him off the track on the exit of turn 15. but Robin Frijns kept his foot in, not afraid at all in being pushed wide. And this is the view on board. Frijns. Wow. I tell you what, at any moment that car could have pitched sideways, and as soon as you do that, you've lost all your downforce.
Game over.
This is what it looked like with Pierre Guidi.
So now we're going to find out how fast a Ferrari is and how fast an Alpine is. Just over 90 minutes to go, and now it's Alpine versus BMW for the second place.
Let's hear from Pierre Guidi.
Okay, we keep cool. 16 laps to go. 16 laps to go. We change the all 4 tires after these 16 laps. 16 laps, and we change all 4 tires.
Yeah, because at the moment, these tyres for Pierre Guidi, they didn't change any in the last stop. And stop before that, they did have 4 used tyres on. So they did 14 laps in that stint, and he's currently sitting at 13 laps in this stint. So they're not hugely old, but he will have the tyre advantage next time around. Look at this. So Frijns he's really on it, isn't he? He's revved up from what happened earlier on, and he's got the Ferrari behind him, who goes round the outside. He's going to do both of them.
He is going to do both of them. He can't stay on. He does stay on. Alessandro Pierre Guidi.
Watch the BMW. Watch the BMW on the Alpine too. And he's got a good run on the Ferrari coming down to La Source. And here comes the Alpine to the outside.
Mick Schumacher loses 2 positions in one corner, but
makes
Pierre
one
Guidi
comes up inside Robin Frijns, can't get there. Frijns with a good run alongside Pierre Guidi. Oh my goodness, this is not the place to be. Very, very bold. He does go through, and Pierre Guidi cuts the corner. He's going to have to give that one away, but it's Alessandro Pierre Guidi, so he's not going to give that one away. He's going to make Robin Frijns work for it, because I think Alessandro Pierre Guidi feels hard done by on the run up the hill the last time round.
Well, if you just take it as it was all fair through first corner and down towards Eau Rouge, so what he did at the top of the hill, I feel like he needs to give the position back, because he stopped an overtake happening by driving off the track there. That was the earlier message, keep cool, and you're going to have the tyre advantage later on. That's when you overtake the cars and get your rightful position back.
Change for 3rd place in LMGT3. The Mustang no longer the leader, the Mustang no longer second, the Mustang no longer in 3rd place. Oh no, hang on, that's Ben Barker, isn't it? That's the other Mustang. So Ben Barker attacking Riccardo Pera. It is Ferrari 1-2 in LMGT3. It is now Mustangs 3rd and 4th, and the first form Porsche is down to 5th position as Ben Barker has gone by Riccardo Pera. Just being handily in the way of the Ferrari as the number 20 BMW went through.
Let's remind everybody watching at home, Wingfoot Award from Goodyear.
Alex Lynn on the inside, and the Toyota just makes the corner.
Yeah, no contact, I don't think. He was very, very close. We call this Wingfoot Award because we missed it the once. Let's not miss it the second time. Side by side, we'll see whether or not Alex can do it around the outside here.
It's a tough one to do around the outside. I've seen it before with Hansen. De Vries gives him enough space, and it's going to be a drag race down towards Eau Rouge. Who's going to come out of this one on top? I've got a feeling it's Lynn. Yeah, De Vries just feathers out of it.
That's gone by him.
Yeah, Marcello's down in 12th place.
There is the 15 having a bit of a moment. Oh dear.
Hello.
Hang on to that one.
That was a bit of a workout, wasn't it?
Is that what we call self-policing track limits?
I was just thinking the same thing. You stole the words out of my mouth.
Well, there, 51. Fuel and tyres on the front.
All 4.
All 4. Wow, all 4 tyres. This is a massive roll of the dice from 51.
Also on pit lane, the 35 Alpine, and finally the 007 Aston Martin, which will cycle back. But it's been an impressive day from the 007 crew, particularly for the Aston Martin team. They've been consistently quicker than the sister car all day today. 51 come back out and are cycling back through, back down the order. Others ahead, though, will need to stop.
Back with 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th in LMGT3. Kelvin van der Linde in the yellow and blue BMW, still pursued by Dennis Olsen and Ben Barker in the Mustangs, and Olsen shows his nose around the outside in the bus stop. Doesn't get through, but it delayed the BMW, having to ratchet up the brakes. Olsen alongside, and right behind him, bump drafting Ben Barker 3 wide up to La Source. Somebody's going to come out of this in front, somebody maybe in the gravel, and Ben Barker is the man who goes into the gravel. 3-1 was never going to work there, but Dennis Olsen goes past the BMW down into Eau Rouge. That's a change for 4th. The BMW down to 5th. Up to 6th place is Yuichi Nakayama, and Ben Barker trying to make it 3 wide.
Coast big time to see them through to the end without the splash.
Side by side for 5th place in LMGT3, Lexus and Ford Mustang, and the Mustang is going to take it brave there up the inside.
Just stays in front. The Lexus has been chasing the 2 Mustangs all the way through, and of course Ben Barker got eased off into the dirt, and so he lost that position 2 or 3 laps ago. Now he's come back at Yuichi Nakayama.
But they're both absolutely eaten up by a run through, both of them, by the number 10 Aston Martin. I was hearing the grandstand applauding the 36 car in from that, and it was indeed a magnificent stint from Mick Schumacher through. Meantime, to the lead goes the 51 of Alessandro Pierguidi, under about 50%. Is either going to be compromised in terms of having to fuel save. There's a change. Is it?
Battle for position, yeah. Kevin S going very wide in La Source, and through comes Paulo Chatin. That is a genuine pass for position, not on economy. How old are the Porsche's tyres? Can Schumacher win this? And it will be down to the driver. Look at the way he's catching the Toyota. He's all over the back of De Vries, and De Vries can't get by the Mercedes.
Full course yellow coming in 15 seconds. Can the positional change come before that? And this is why they're looking for it. He has done it. He's done it. He's made the change on the Toyota. He'll be able to close the gap a little before we go down in about 2 seconds. Full course yellow. Huge lock-up from Mick Schumacher in coming down to full course yellow speeds.
Well, that's a little bit like the pass for the lead in LMGT3 in Imola last year. On the last second of the full course yellow countdown, he had to do it, and he did.
Watch this lock-up, as Graham pointed out under our graphics. That did he make it down to the speed? I'm nervous. Slowing down during a corner, that's why that happened.
Okay. Here we go.
Well, this will help the fuel save, but I don't think it's enough, is the honest answer. With 21 minutes before the end of this race, the gaps are artificial now with the full course yellow speeds, of course. It's Alessandro Pierguidi from Alex Lynn who will need to stop. Both will need to stop. And
it's only a 60-second full course yellow, so this will raise the bar again in 30 seconds. It certainly hasn't done enough. But Mick Schumacher, that might have been an absolutely critical pass. Oh, Nick de Vries comes right back at him. Phenomenal restarting from the Toyota driver, and he shoves the Alpine off the circuit. But Schumacher taking precisely none of that old nonsense and puts the Iron Dames between himself and the Toyota. But wow, here comes Alessandro Pierguidi. The 51 Ferrari is going to win here in Spa-Francorchamps. It will be a Ferrari 1-2. And there is a very tight battle for second place in LMGT3 as well. But victory for the Hypercar, Ferrari 51. It is Alessandro Pierguidi who brings it to the line. Nick Nielsen takes second place in 50 inches in front of Mick Schumacher. A phenomenal last stint from Schumacher to try and snatch it away. In the end, the age of the tyres decided otherwise. Well, here is our race leader in LMGT3. Alessio Rivera brings the number 21 Vista A, of course, a Ferrari, to the line. Francois Heriot started it. Simon Mann did a great job as ever in the second stint, and Alessio Rivera rounded it out.
That is the final result, 51 from the 50 Ferrari. Yes, a Ferrari 1-2, but won in a way that nobody really expected. Alpine Endurance Team's 36 crew less than a second off second place. Winners in LMGT3 with a stellar performance, particularly from Alessio Rivera at the end. The 21 Ferrari looking very good as a package. Then from the 88 Mustang and the 54 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari completing the podium, but under massive pressure from the second Mustang at the end.
From word go this week, when I saw the long runs, the car just looked, you know, it looked to be doing what the driver wanted.
Yep. Well, very big smiles from 51. The 50 crew second here, looking a little downcast. And of course, they're still trying to make up the deficit of the disastrous Imola race for them. They won the season opener in Qatar, got points and a half. They're second here to their rivals who led the championship. They have moved up to second in the standings. Of course, all they need to do to turn over that lead is win Le Mans.